Welcome into the Paul Farrington Show. Paul, joined by Jack Weinberger and Robert Ziggy Ziegler at the University of Virginia for another episode today. Producer Zach will be back with us next week. Where's he? He's down in North Brunswick doing some...
North Bergen.
North Bergen. Why do I keep saying Brunswick? we keep thinking New Brunswick. In North Bergen.
But it's a busy work week.
Some work. Yeah. Producer Zach has had... Who knows what time he's been waking up in the morning.
And it's hot out, too.
Super hot today. It's a beautiful day today. Jack, right before we started, was trying to get the show canceled to go swimming. Don't blame him. 85 degrees, sunny here. It's a beautiful Wednesday afternoon in New Jersey. Ziggy, right before we hopped on here, we were saying how we enjoy the Wednesday recordings a little bit more than the Monday just because the weekend is in sight. You can start to get that weekend feel. And I asked Jack to power rank the weekdays. And you go ahead, Jack. What was your power rankings for the weekdays?
So I said Saturday is a clear-cut number one.
Mm-hmm.
And then
agree.
Friday number two.
Yep.
Thursday 3.
That's a take. People, Thursday versus Sunday is a great topic.
Sunday number 4, Wednesday 5, Monday 6, and Tuesday is the worst day of the week.
What did you think of that, Ziggy? I was curious to see if you agreed with him on the Thursday over Sunday and the Tuesday over Monday, or worse than Monday take.
Yeah, sure.
It also depends.
I think I have a different approach to weekdays that you guys have. So
it also
I
depends,
don't think I dislike any weekday.
Are we talking like during the football season? I think I take Sunday over Wednesday.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's a pretty sad approach. If you view Monday as this is the worst day ever, every single week, I mean that's the 7th of your life is miserable.
Well, yeah.
Yeah, I don't think you or Jack are doing anything penitential on Wednesdays or Fridays.
Oh,
so this changes the rankings of the weekdays a little bit.
I guess each person has
Sunday
their own
at
ranking.
5 p.m. and on sucks. Sunday at noon is not bad.
I think so. Well, that's the Sunday scaries, right? It's 5 o'clock on Sunday.
Yeah,
we're talking about best times to live, best times of the week, specific hour, and it's amazing how I think Friday at most days is that's the time that's probably the scariest every single day. Where you're just or not scariest, but maybe ominous, a little depressing, Sunday, 5 o'clock. You'd be all right, here we go. Friday at 5 o'clock, though.
That's the best time of the week.
Enchanting. Amazing. Magical. Okay, so enough week talk, daytime talk. Today's episode, we're going to talk about the rookies. Going to do a little rookie check-in. We do this once a year, and it's a really fun episode for us. I remember when Anthony Richardson, CJ Stroud were rookies. Actually, some of the first success I think that our channel ever had was doing the rookie check-in and building up some hype around Anthony Richardson back when it looked like he was going to be the savior of the Colts. Maybe still could be. So we're going to check in on a couple of the big rookies. Travis Hunter is balling out right now. We'll get to him in just a second. Later on, we are also going to hit what was the mailbag. The mailbag, that was it. From earlier in the week, we put out a mailbag. We're not going to hit every single question. We have some big mailbag episodes. But this one, we just picked a couple. We'll respond to as many as we can online. But there were a few questions we just wanted to hit, and we appreciate everyone for submitting the questions and engaging with the channel. If you're enjoying the content...
This was less of a mailbag and more of a crowdsourcing ideas for the show.
Yes, that's a great way of phrasing it. It was Paul trying to get some ideas for the rundown, and graciously some people contributed there. If you're enjoying the content, please remember to like, comment, and subscribe to the channel. We have had a really good week lately, so it's awesome seeing people engaging and joining up for the community, and we're looking forward to the 2025 NFL season. There's one thing that I do want to actually say before we start up the episode, and Vikings legend Jim Marshall passed away on Tuesday, unfortunately.
Oh.
87 years old. Jim Marshall's prominent in my house here. See right there, Jack? There's Jim Marshall. Signed a Purple People Eater jersey.
Oh, yeah.
Jim Marshall's right there. Purple People Eater picture.
It's beyond outrageous he's not in the Hall of Fame.
I was thinking the same thing. It's the same exact thing, Ziggy. I was just going through some of the accomplishments of Jim Marshall. He's one of those guys, Jack, that has been people have been trying to lobby for him to get into the Hall of Fame for decades now, and he just never makes the cut. But if you go through his career, 20-year career, he was the Iron Man. Remember when Favre broke the consecutive game streak?
Yes.
That was Jim Marshall's record, which is pretty sick for a defensive end.
Yep.
To have the consecutive games record.
Getting beat up like that day in and day out.
Yeah. It's ridiculous. He played 20 seasons, didn't miss a game, 282 consecutive games played, 270 with the Vikings, most fumble recoveries for an opponent all time, tied with Jason Taylor, captain of the Vikings for 14 years. Sacks weren't a stat until 1982. Pro Football Reference credited him with 130.5 in his career, which would be 22nd in NFL history. And unfortunately, a lot of people remember him for the scoop and score the wrong way. You know that video where the Jim Marshall picked up the ball and ran to the wrong end zone?
Yes,
That was Jim Marshall. But that moment, unfortunately for some people, I think can stain a legendary career. It's the Hall of Fame, right? It's the Hall of Fame, the best players ever. I think playing for 20 straight years at a super high level like he did, top 25 all time in sacks, he deserves to be in.
87.
I mean, people talk about Tom Brady playing when he was like 42 years old and how impressive that was, and it was. Imagine playing defensive end.
Oh, I can't.
42 years old, 16 games. You're getting hit every single play. It's unbelievable.
I almost wonder if him passing away will promote his case to get in, which unfortunate. It would be really unfortunate if that's what happens. And I mean, at this point, hopefully he still gets in, but I was just like, come on, put him in while he was alive. He deserves to be.
Yeah, and I mean, it's everyone, as you say, everyone talks about the wrong way safety. Nobody talks about how he literally won the Vikings the game after that play. Like, no.
I mean, I think I might take him at 86 over anybody who's currently playing D-line for the Vikings.
Come on, we got beast D-line. It's kind of like the Pete Rose. I actually thought the Pete Rose thing was, we're not going to get too far into it, but I thought the whole Pete Rose thing with allowing him to get into the Hall of Fame after he died, like, come on. Like, this is ridiculous here. I don't know. I thought that was ridiculous.
I mean, the thing that was said, he's dead now, so there's no reason that we can't put him in the Hall of Fame. I'm not making a judgment on whether or not he should be in. I'm just saying he should be allowed to be voted in because it doesn't really make a difference since he's dead. Like, what are you talking about?
I thought that was a huge, no pun intended, swing and a miss by the MLB.
I agree.
Yeah, that was bad. Okay, so we'll hit the rookie check-in here. We're just going to bounce around a couple rookies and what's going on right now. We're going to start with Travis Hunter. Now, Browns fans, you might want to plug your ears here because this is going to be a comparison that's made throughout, especially the early portions of Travis Hunter's career, is should the Browns have just taken him at number 2 overall as opposed to getting the loaded draft picks. And they, I think everyone agrees it was a great haul for Cleveland. But if Travis Hunter turns into this otherworldly player, we might look back on it a little differently in a few years here. And the start for Hunter, who originally was playing as a receiver mostly at rookie minicamp, has been pretty electric. And I don't know if you see, did you see the video, Jack, of his interception?
I've seen some corner plays. Yeah,
the cornerback play that he had the other day, defending Darius Lassiter. If you haven't seen it, go check it out. He reaches up with his right hand, taps it to himself, and picks off the football. You just see all these images and these videos coming out of Hunter lining up from Brian Thomas Jr. Then he's lining up at receiver with him on other plays, and Trevor Lawrence is throwing darts. It's like the reaction to his first few practices. Remember I said how Randy Moss came in with the Vikings and people were immediately saying, oh yeah, that guy can play. This feels like one of those, oh shit, this guy's really good at football. And you even had the Jaguars' new defensive coordinators coming out saying to Liam Cohen, can I have him more? I think the actual quote was, we'd like to have him more on defense. And I have to say at this point, I know a lot of people are iffy on if he should play one way as opposed to both. I'd say screw it. If he's that good on both sides, let him go out there, play as much as he can. And if it becomes a problem, it becomes a problem. But this dude's a hot start.
I think it's way too exhausting and wearing.
It probably will be.
Like this guy, he seems like he's going to be a generational player and a generational. It feels
almost automatic, doesn't it?
Yeah, like a generational type of talent. And you can, Cleveland, you can kind of stick any fat guy, have him work out, and tell him go play O-line. So looking back at it, it was a pretty terrible move for Cleveland, in my opinion.
Well, they got Graham, they got D lineman.
Oh, okay. Well, same thing. You just get a big guy, tell him to work out, and he can play the D line. But when you pass on Travis Hunter, which now looks even more insane, but going back to the both ways, it is a very cool story right now, and it's cool to see him. I did see that one quote where somebody's like, he's lining up playing receiver, opposite side of the field is Brian Thomas, and then he's covering him, guarding him the next play, which is insane. I just think right now it's currently so different than when it's going to be the pace of play at the NFL level in the regular season, week in and week out. I don't really see how it's going to work, but if he can make it work, I'm all for it. He's going to be generational on one side of the ball. If it can be two, let's see what he can do. I just think it's too taxing and too wearing over time.
I mean, I like what the Jaguars are doing. If Travis Hunter, and I think this is true, and we're seeing in training camp, has some of the best ball skills in the entire NFL, And I mean, he just does, right? The way he's able to track movement in the air, the things he's able to do with his hands, the way he's able to bring things in. Like Travis Hunter will immediately be one of the best just players on the ball in the NFL. If that's what he is, then you should make him a wide receiver first. If you look at where guys get paid, if you look at where the value is, wide receiver is significantly more valuable than cornerback. If you were to take like the salaries of wide receivers and cornerbacks and combine them, 11 of the top 12 highest paid players are wide receivers. Like you saw what Jamar Chase got paid this offseason, right? So that's the position to put him. I don't know what it looks like in the NFL, having a player be like a gadget defensive player coming in for some defensive snaps. But if you can make it work, whatever. He's going to be a monster on the offensive side of the ball, and that's what really matters.
I mean, we're going to see this year quite a few times where like Travis, they're going to cut to a commercial. It's like, Travis Hunter pick leads to a Travis Hunter touchdown. Jaguars up 7.
That's going to be...
Like, he'll pick off the ball and 2 plays later he'll catch a touchdown.
I would force it to him, too, just to be able to run that.
And a Travis Hunter pick leads to a Hunter score. 7-0.
So Ziggy, I agree with you, though. As far as what's best for Travis Hunter, when he's looking over the situation, I know he wants to play both ways, but I'm sure when he's having private discussions with his family and maybe some coaches are saying, hey, realistically, we're going to need you on one side of the ball here. For the Jaguars, their defense was dead last in passing yards per game allowed last season. It was horrendous. I know, but Travis Hunter's looking at this, and I bet he's seeing what you're seeing. I'll get paid a lot more at receiver here. And I actually think, do you guys think it's crazy to say this dude is... Does he have top 5 wide receiver and top 5 cornerback potential in his rookie year? Is that on the table?
I don't think through an 18-week NFL season he does. No, I think it's too taxing and wearing. If he proves me wrong, he proves me wrong.
That would be nuts.
But I don't think he can be top 5 in both. No.
What do you think, Ziggy?
Top 5 wide receiver, I think, is pushing it. There's so much talent at that position. Right? Like, who are the top 5 wide receivers setting them apart? You got AJ Brown, Justin Jefferson, Jamar Chase. Right?
I think CD.
And then what? Amon-Ra St. Brown,
that's my 5.
Nakua, CeeDee Lamb, Nico Collins. Like, he has to be better than basically all those guys to get into the top 5.
Yeah.
I don't think that's going to happen. Top 10, though? Right? Like, I think top 10 is realistic because after all those guys we just listed, like, who's left in your top 10? You got 3 spots left. Like, there's Tyreek Hill, there's Mike Evans, Drake London, Terry McLaurin, Malik Neighbors,
the DJ
Garrett
Moore's
Wilson.
in there.
Yeah, but those are guys I think it's possible to be better than. I mean, Brian Thomas had a better season than most of those guys last year, right?
Yeah, so
and basically all of them.
To be a top 5 to top 10 receiver in your rookie year is already asking for a lot.
Well, that's crazy.
That's with him playing.
He's got the skills to do it.
That's with him playing every snap on defense. Like, it's just impossible.
No, it's the Jaguars have made clear he's not playing every snap on defense.
So
I don't think he can.
Place for him to go in.
So being top 5 in both is absurd.
But when you're seeing all this hype and you're seeing all these highlights come out of camp right now, and I'm just thinking back to myself, like, man, Trevor Lawrence should be awesome this year. There's no reason that with Brian Thomas and with Travis Hunter now that this Jags offense shouldn't be really good.
The Jags will be amazing.
They should be.
They're my bounce back team. I picked the right team.
He has to be. If Trevor Lawrence is not amazing this year, the Jaguars will be looking for a replacement.
When you're looking at the best wide receiver duos in football, and again, I know that Travis Hunter hasn't played a snap yet, but it feels pretty inevitable that he's going to be awesome. He's just a natural football player. There's not many duos that are better than these guys. Like they're easily a top 10 duo in the league right now. And yeah, if Trevor Lawrence can't show up, then it's as crazy as it sounds because he was so hyped up in college. Like there would be quarterback questions heading into Jacksonville for 2026 if he doesn't deliver this year.
I mean, we're playing in a men's league coming up. I can barely go up and down the floor. And then I see these highlights of Travis Hunter running all over the place. It's like, I don't know how he does it.
Well, he's a lot more. Didn't you say you went to the gym for the first time in years last week?
Months.
I thought it was years.
And no, it was months. And then I was sore for like 6 days.
That checks out. It's like, can you imagine if I'm trying to think what you dominate at equivalent to Travis Hunter at football? What's the thing you dominate at? more than anyone else you could, or the closest?
Nothing. Sitting on a lounge chair drinking Corona.
Yeah, imagine Travis Hunter, trying to look relaxed on a couch watching like Better Call Saul
With a beer in his hand.
with a beer in his hand. He'd be like, I don't know how this guy does
Hunter would
it.
be like,
I don't know
"This
how this
guy's
guy does it
just
so consistently.
amazing."
Like, he can remain motionless
Yeah.
for 12 straight hours.
I mean, that is just absurd.
Well, Ziggy, what did you call it when you don't move?
Monastic stillness.
Monastic stillness. You are that.
I mean,
Travis
how
Hunter
can
at
this
football.
guy just watch TV forever?
He's amazing at it. So we'll see what winds up happening with Travis Hunter once the season starts. But I think, would you guys say of all the rookies so far or this season that you're most excited? Ziggy, I saw you put out the poll. Are you most excited to see Travis Hunter next year?
I think just on a pure play level, like even if he's only playing one position, I think Travis Hunter is the most exciting prospect in this draft.
Mm-hmm.
If you combine that with the possibility of him doing things on both sides of the ball in an offense that should improve a lot and a defense that's looking to not be dead last. Yeah. I mean, I don't know. I mean, I know people are excited about Ashton Jeanty. I am too. I know people are excited about Cam Ward. I am too. Travis Hunter is the most electric player in this draft.
Are people excited about Cam Ward?
Yeah, I would definitely say anybody but Mason Graham.
Anyone but Mason Graham.
Yeah.
You gotta think Mason Graham's sitting in his bed looking at these Travis Hunter highlights going like, uh-oh.
Oh, hey,
Oh,
it might
boy.
make Graham insane.
I don't think Mason Graham cares at
I don't
all.
think he
I
does.
Mason
Yeah,
Graham's saying, boy, I was taking top 5 in the NFL draft and getting paid like $30 million over the next 5 years.
Yeah,
when
it's not-
anybody
I
can
get to
play, his
play
position.
next to Myles Garrett. Yeah, sure, man.
yeah, it's not a bad gig there either.
If I just started eating like profusely and got to like 300 and worked out every day, I could be on the D line.
I thought you were gonna say if I started eating profusely
no idea.
and stayed on the couch. You'd be
No.
like 300 pounds on the couch.
If I started
Look,
eating,
you wouldn't be that you were good at not moving. You wouldn't be able to move.
if I worked out and ate and got fat while working out, I can play on the D line.
Oh yeah, here the D line rant again. Okay, so Ziggy, you just mentioned him. Let's move along
D
to
line will hear
Ashton.
this, be like, this guy is just ridiculous.
So, someone's gonna come pick
Like
you up and throw you through a wall.
Yeah,
right now.
yeah, I know.
Let's move on to Ashton Jeanty. You just mentioned him, Ziggy. Talk about making a lot of money. Second highest paid running back in the league behind Saquon Barkley right now as a rookie. Kind of amazing.
Fools.
So the Raiders last year
He's
were
in the Madden
last.
trailer.
Yeah. Oh, he should be really good this year.
He's your boy, Ziggy.
The Raiders were last in rushing yards per game last season. Oh, you're right. He is Ziggy's boy after the near Oklahoma drill that they had back in Green Bay. I saw someone was asking him a question. I was like, it doesn't hold a candle to Ziggy's question for him. So the reviews on Jeanty, as with most rookies around this time of year, pretty high. Brock Bowers, I love what Brock Bowers. He's a beast. He's quick. He's fast. I don't know what this meant. He's rocked up. I don't know.
Probably pumped.
He's thick. Then he said he's thick.
So he's rocked up and thick.
So he's pretty good. Yeah, he's a beast. He's quick.
He's rocked
he's
up
fast.
really thick. That's the quote.
That makes two of
I
us,
mean,
brother.
look, I don't. What am I supposed to say here?
Well, did you see the video of Jeanty? I don't know who the center was, but the center for the Raiders when they met up and they high fived each other, and you just see it actually kind of looked like the Predator, Arnold Schwarzenegger, like the handshake. Jeanty is a thick dude. I mean, this guy is a bowling ball at running.
Oh yeah, we saw him live and in person.
Yeah, well, Ziggy sized him up.
I mean, the guy was like a midget, but I'm like, wow, he is a tank.
But Max Crosby came out, said he's awesome. All the reviews on Jeanty so far, pretty much top notch. And you forget, it's only been a few months, but the numbers he put up at Boise State, he had 2,601 rushing yards last season, 152 forced missed tackles. I mean, the guy was just a monster. And I actually wanted to ask you guys, I saw PFF came out with their early running back rankings for 2025. And because Jeanty's a rookie, there's this stat that only 4 running backs in the PFF era have had, quote, elite PFF rushing grades as a rookie. That was Peterson in 2007, Alfred Morris in 2012, Achane 2023, and Bucky Irving last year. I think that impacted Jeanty's ranking. But just tell me right here, which of these guys you would take over Jeanty? I want to see if you think he's a little just underrated.
For next year alone.
For next year alone, yeah, heading into this season. Just say yes or no. Will you take them over Ashton Jeanty? Derrick Henry.
Yes.
Yes.
Saquon Barkley.
Yes.
Yes.
Bijan.
Yes.
Yes.
Gibbs.
Yes.
Yes.
Josh Jacobs.
Yes.
Yes.
That's top 5. Bucky Irving.
Absolutely.
Yeah, probably.
Yeah, I think that's close. I think that's pretty close.
Bucky Irving does not get nearly enough respect
Hey,
for the
Bucky's a
season he
beast.
had last year.
He was awesome last year, but you could talk me into Jeanty over Bucky Irving. Okay, so that's 6. Christian McCaffrey, assuming healthy.
If he plays,
so I'm going to say yes.
James Conner.
No.
I'd probably rather have Jeanty.
Achan?
Achan's good. Probably Jeanty.
Ziggy?
Oh, Achan's good.
I'm keeping Achan.
Achan's a good receiver too.
Kyron.
I'm gonna go Achan as well. Actually,
my good friend Kyron Williams.
Kyron's good also.
I'm taking Kyron.
Yeah, Kyron.
I think
Kyron Williams is such a good pass blocker.
I love Kyron. Everyone knows I love Kyron. I think I'd take Jeanty. Kenneth Walker. Last 2. Kenneth Walker and James Cook.
No.
I think I go Kenneth Walker, but I would go Jeanty over Cook.
Okay, so you guys think he's just a little underrated in this ranking here, right at the end of the top 10. Sounds about right.
I mean, the problem with running back in the NFL is there's so many talented players. People are gonna freak out and say like you're putting Bucky Irving and Achan over Ashton Jeanty. But like if you go off that list, all of those guys, with the exception of Bucky Irving, are guys who have had repeated excellent seasons at the NFL, close to the top of their game. It feels like there's just so many of those guys that taking a look at Ashton Jeanty and saying, I mean, we haven't seen a whole lot of it, but running back is one of those positions, I think, where there's a lot of adjusting in the NFL because you have to get better at pass blocking. You're in a scheme that's sometimes very different than what you ran. It's not like wide receiver where it's a lot easier, just go in, get open, and catch the ball. Like there's a bigger adjustment from college to the NFL. I just expecting him to come in and immediately be one of the 5 best players at the position, I think is a lot to ask.
I mean, let's see him play a few games against a professional defense.
Well, Ziggy, I hear what both of you guys are saying, but it's a lot to ask. But when you look at the situation he's in, he was taken 6th in the draft, and he's the second highest paid running back in the league. Like the expectation is for him to be a top 5 running back this year. That is what you're expecting from Ashton Jeanty if you're the Raiders.
Yeah, that's what he's paid to do. But
yeah,
let's see him play against pro defenses first.
Oh, 100%. There's a difference, I guess, between.
I mean, you could say the same thing about Travis Hunter. The difference is Travis Hunter doesn't have to worry about like Colton Miller and Alex Kappa getting blocking for it.
But if you put like Bucky Irving last year on Boise State, he puts up the same numbers.
I disagree with that.
Like he puts up much better numbers.
Yeah, like he's an animal. Like it's.
I'm not sure. I totally agree with that. Like, but Bucky. I think Bucky's awesome.
Like people will say, "Oh my gosh, like you have Kenneth Walker right now," or Jeanty hasn't played.
Well, if we're sitting here in November and Ashton Jeanty is having a sensational season, then you'll take.
Well,
back
what's that?
Bucky
6 weeks in, 5 weeks in.
No, November. That's like week 10.
Oh yeah, right. Week 10.
Yeah, no, I agree that we need to see some stuff before we can believe he actually will be a top 5 running back. But I'm saying the expectation is for him to be that.
With the way he's paid, absolutely.
Yeah, so it's unfair expectations, but not when you consider where he's getting paid.
I'm not sure they are totally unfair because
that's what I'm saying.
Since we just got done talking about Travis Hunter and the kind of athletic ability he's shown, you're going to see clips from training camp of Ashton Jeanty showing that off. He has all the tools to immediately be an NFL contributor.
He should be a star. That's the hope.
I worry about the situation the Raiders have around him, right? Like I'm not sure. Like Geno Smith is not a guy who's going to be able to take a ton of attention off you in the running game. The others, I mean, Brock Bowers is incredible, but the wide receiver room is one of the worst in the NFL. The offensive line, I think, is slightly below average.
Well, this goes back to
more what I worry about.
This all goes back to what we said when he got drafted. We said all the Raiders fans were super excited. People who believed in Jeanty were super excited. And we said for him individually, the Raiders are not a team that's like ready to draft a running back in the top 10. There's so many other holes there. Now, look, if he winds up being Adrian Peterson or Saquon Barkley rookie season, then you run through anyone. It doesn't matter.
I mean, I think the way he's being talked about right now, he's being vastly overrated.
You do.
Like super overrated. Yeah. I mean,
so you'd have him lower than 13, Jack?
Well, I mean, didn't you just have him as like the number 10 running back in football?
Well, out of the people you named.
Who else?
Who else are you?
What other running backs do you take over?
Also, 13 is also not the like. Yeah, sixth overall and being paid like what he's being paid. 13 is like 13. But,
Once you drop out of once you go below 13, you start getting running backs of a ton of questions, right? Joe Mixon, Chuba Hubbard, Breece Hall, Jonathan Taylor.
Who are still good running backs.
I'm not. Yeah, those guys could be better. Like, I'm also not knocking his production and what he did at Boise State, but he did it at Boise State and then played against the Big Ten team and stunk in a playoff game.
Oh, I forgot that you don't like
you have guys like Travion Henderson, who
I totally forgot that,
who was drafted later, who did it against Michigan and Penn State his whole career.
Yeah, to be fair though, he also had the Ohio State offensive line blocking for him, and he had Emeka Ibuka and Jeremiah Smith on the outside.
We're talking about Jeanty like he didn't play anybody in college.
I mean, he still ran 2,600 yards. I know, insane.
I know, but to draft him number 6 when there was a ton of good running backs and to pay him what they're paying him.
Oh yeah, it's a really bold move.
What he did at Boise State.
Let's be clear, Ashton Jeanty almost beat Oregon single-handedly.
You do have you watched that game?
I'm not saying Genty's not good.
No, you're just saying it was a little early.
He never did anything against good competition. That's just untrue.
I said he played 2 teams who are good and 1 team shut him down.
Well, but the other, he ran for 300 yards.
Okay, but one, he was awful in a game that mattered.
Yeah, no, I'm just saying,
and now we're talking about him like he's like the next,
Well, yeah, this goes back to your whole running back shouldn't be in the top 10.
I mean, you had Cam Skadaboo in the 5th round. He was also great at Arizona State.
Yeah, but you
don't got to pay him zillions of dollars.
The skill set that Cam Skadaboo brings is much different. Jeanty again makes people miss in the field. He's faster.
Skadaboo torched Texas in the
yeah, but now you're going against
game.
NFL defensive lines and NFL linebackers. Cam Skadaboo's not just going to maul over every single one of them.
Neither is Ashton Jeanty.
Well, no, I think Jeanty's more likely to be successful in the NFL.
He was running over San Jose State and Hawaii.
Yeah, no, I understand the competition level.
I'm not sitting here saying I'm playing a bit of devil's advocate. I'm not.
It sounds like you hate Ashton Jeanty.
No, I'm not sitting here saying.
Just say it. Say I hate Ashton Jeanty.
I'm not sitting here saying he stinks. The way people are talking about him, like Barry Sanders right now, is insane.
What I think is. It's going to be difficult is that Ziggy, you mentioned, and I think that it actually, I took it the other way than you intended. When you said Jonathan Taylor, Joe Mixon, and you were naming some of those other running backs past 13 there, any one of those guys, I wouldn't be shocked if they had a top 5 season or a top 6 season.
I take Mixon over Jeanty too.
So I think I would probably take Jeanty, but that's the thing with the running backs here is James Cook is one ahead of him at 12. I think James Cook is a really, really good running back. And Ashton Jeanty, the expectation is that he's going to be in that Henry, Saquon, Bijan, Gibbs category or tier of running backs.
He will not touch Saquon or Gibbs.
And that's what they want him to be. When you take him that high and he's getting paid this much. Now, I know he's getting paid this much,
which is insane
because of where he fell in the draft. So it's not like the Raiders didn't just hand him this contract as a free agent. But they knew when they drafted him, okay, we're going to be paying a running back the second most in football. So we'll have to see. We'll just have to see.
You throw me in pads and put me against Hawaii football, I'm 100 yards. 100 yards.
Well, if we put you on the D-line, can you imagine that? You could be a star defensive lineman there.
But I have to get a little bigger.
Bulk up a little bit, yeah.
Yeah, they bulk out a little bit. We'll bulk up.
So Ashton Jeanty, massive expectations.
You just can't stand some of the things that I said.
I can't wait to watch him play. But again, we all said when he was right before the draft, we said the Raiders are going to take Jeanty here. That's what it looks like. And they're not ready to go all in on a running back like this. There's too much, it's going to be a lot on his shoulders. Now we'll see if he's willing or able to handle it.
And that's why they're the Raiders. They don't know what they're doing.
I'm okay with running backs early though.
You're also
maybe I'm just crazy.
Yeah, you're also a fool. Crazy.
But I like Gibbs.
You also wasted Peterson's career.
We did, but that wasn't a bad pick at 7.
That's a bad pick. He didn't win you anything.
Come on. All right, let's go over to another receiver here. Matthew Golden with the Green Bay Packers. Andy Herman, our good pal Andy Herman. I thought he actually had a pretty beast quote about Matthew Goldman. He said, everything Matthew Goldman does just looks so natural. Routes, catching, returning, just born to do it. So Andy's pretty excited about Matthew Golden being in the building. Romeo Dobbs is too. He said, kid's a stud. Doesn't say much, comes in and works. He's been real consistent in that area. Kid is playing fast right now, so I'm excited to see it. Watch out, Romeo. Kid might take your job. That's probably what's gonna happen as the season goes on here. in Green Bay. The Packers also have Golden returning some punts in practice. We'll see if they wind up using him there. I've never been a fan. I would not put Matthew Golden back returning punts unless if it was a situation where you need a big return.
I don't know. I mean, AB used to return him. He was great.
I know, but I don't like
How'd
putting.
that turn out?
Yeah, that towards
I
the
guess
end.
he became a psychopath. Yeah.
I just don't like putting your star players back to return a kick unless if you need
That's
that
what you
big
signed
return.
Nicole Hardman for, right?
Yeah, and there are some guys who are actually just naturally better than even your star players are. But yeah, if the Packers are down a touchdown with a minute left, I might throw Matthew Golden back there if he proves to be the best of the bunch. Otherwise, I just
Just need like a good return, good field position.
yeah. Otherwise, just let someone else do it. That's like when they were relying on Keyshawn Nixon a lot more. It's like, all right, I don't know if I'd want him returning kicks as good as he is. Well, you're one injury away there from a banged up cornerback.
I was about to make a joke and say if he didn't catch the 4th and 13 ball, he'd be like a 5th round pick. But I like the guy. Like I interviewed him like he was a cool dude. So I'm not gonna.
Yeah, I was gonna say it.
So I'm not gonna
throwing
say
shade at
yeah.
him.
So I'm not gonna say that.
Perhaps a friend, I'd say.
Yes, I'd say a friend too.
You interviewed him twice.
Yeah, and he answered my question in the press conference, which I was appreciative of.
All right. Yeah.
But I'm
the
expecting
thing about
pretty big things, Ziggy.
the thing about Matthew Golden that I've seen that has me excited is if you look at, I mean, I think out of all the things you get out of OTAs, which is not necessarily a lot, the situations that tell you the most are what happens in like the simulation drills, right? It's like the Packers had it towards the end of practice, like we're going to run a 2-minute drill. And one play in particular, a few people in the Packers media sphere have been talking about this that really stands out, is you need a big play. Play clock's at 10 seconds and counting down. Jordan Love calls a quick audible, gets Matthew Golden going on a quick out route, gets 9 yards, Golden gets out of bounds, keeps the drill going. Now, like, those aren't particularly exceptional plays, right? You don't look at a receiver getting open on a 9-yard route and catching the ball and going out of bounds and say, wow, this guy's going to be a star. But I think what that tells you, especially because he's doing it with the first team, is that Jordan Love sees this as a player that he can potentially build trust with and be that reliable receiver who catches the balls in those situations that we've said the Packers have needed every single week last year. Right, the biggest issue of the Packers, there's a lot of competent receivers in that room, but there weren't guys that you felt were super reliable. Right, in third and medium situations, who are you getting the ball to? Wicks is going to drop it. Dobbs is going to drop it. Jaden Reed is probably going to drop it. Like, there wasn't a guy who you felt like you could count on in that room. And Jordan Love is clearly trying to build that sort of connection with Matthew Golden, which I think if you're a Packers fan should leave you pretty excited.
Oh, absolutely, it should. I've actually almost been surprised at how verbal the Packers have been about the drops last season. Like when LaFleur was talking about Jordan Love's regression, and I think he said, obviously, the drops were a thing too. It's like there's something kind of strange going on with the Packers receiver room at this point in time.
But you can't deny it.
No, you can't.
Right?
But that's just something that I thought was a little
Sharp did
weird.
the math. The two worst receivers in the entire NFL at making mistakes on 3rd and 4th down were Dobbs and Wicks.
Yeah, no, I saw that.
Golden is here because you're looking for that guy now where it's 3rd and 5, 3rd and 6.
Yeah, he's coming in to alleviate that.
Yeah, and he comes in and the drive continues.
I will say, though, when you do watch, kind of to echo what Andy Herman was saying, when you're watching him in practice, and Ziggy, I actually think you said this before even Andy did on the show, you said he just looks a lot smoother than everyone else on the field right now. And I'm not going to lie to you guys. When the Packers drafted Matthew Golden, I didn't flinch. And you could go look at the reaction. I was actually pretty pumped up because I wanted, as everyone knows at this point in time, I wanted Will Johnson. And I was afraid the Packers were going to take him. Of course, in hindsight now, it was Donovan Jackson all the way for me. I was just, I was just trying to build up some love for Will, who I interviewed at the draft. But I wasn't particularly threatened by Matthew Golden when the Packers took him. And I'll ask you, Ziggy, because you're the fellow Vikings fan here. Jack, feel free to chime in actually as well as a neutral party. Do you think that I was wrong to not be afraid of that selection, that maybe I'll come to regret having basically zero fear when the Packers selected a 1st-round wide receiver?
I mean, look, I'm just thinking about the 2 times we have to play the Packers next year. Our secondary is vulnerable. You know it. I know it.
Yeah, I do.
The thought of I'm not saying he's going to be Justin Jefferson or anything like that, but the thought of Jordan Love having a competent receiver, a guy who's reliable. I mean, you saw it so many times in late comebacks the Packers were trying to mount last year. The receivers just kept making mistakes that cost them games. If you take that out, you've got a receiver who's fast, who's quick, who can get open against our cornerbacks. Like, that doesn't seem to me all that crazy. I don't think, especially when you pair that with potentially another receiver in Savion Williams, who we're not really talking about at all, but also I think is a real athletic threat, who's a chance to reshape this room. Yeah, I'd be worried. Like, what am I going to sit back here and say our team that sort of needs to be able to beat the Packers in a shootout with a rookie quarterback and a bad secondary?
Takes a very good
We're
receiver.
going to be just fine if the Packers get receivers? I don't know, man.
Yeah, I guess as more and more of this news comes out that Matthew Golden looks awesome, and I'm looking across the board here at our secondary going, I like Byron Murphy, and other than that, I'm really just kind of putting stock in Mekhi Blackman saying that this unit's good to go. So,
if he elevates himself and becomes the Packers' number one receiver,
that's a problem.
Like he's expected to, like what they want him to do, I think it's a problem. Because you'll be sitting here watching the game on Sunday, and it'll be 3rd and 7, and Love will drop back.
Byron Murphy putting the straps on.
I guess defensive PI after that too. But you'll be seeing Love drop back and finding Golden. Be go, crap, of course it's going to him. Why aren't we covering him?
Yeah, I guess I'm really not thinking about how bad it could be if Jordan Love gets a true number one receiver.
I remember, and I'm not saying he's Antonio Brown. He hasn't played a snap in the NFL.
Okay, careful with what you say here.
I remember those years when it was like 3rd and 13 for us, and it felt like a 3rd and 2 because Antonio Brown's catching a 16-yard pass, and you knew it was happening.
Except you remember that Xavier Rhodes, Harrison Smith bracket coverage.
When you double him, yeah.
That was sick.
If it was Rhodes by himself, he's cooked.
But you know what? We lost that game.
Yeah,
we lost that. And we were 13-3 that year.
Yeah, we killed you.
That was game 1 of the Case Keenum.
Yeah, we killed you. But yeah, like if he can rise and become what Green Bay drafted him to be and become their number one receiver, then that's a problem, yes.
I remember that season. Sorry for a brief tangent here. I remember that season. That's when Dalvin Cook got hurt early in the season. And I was just devastated. You could actually go look up my old article. I was in high school, or I guess freshman year of college, and I wrote for the Viking Age, and I think I titled it "Cooking Up a Mess: A Typical Vikings Year." And I remember I was just devastated after Cook went down because I thought we had something really special, and we did that year. We really did. And I'll never forget our good friend Christian Lee, who Ziggy and I went to Notre Dame with. Christian's a big fan of Cleveland sports, and I walked up to Christian, and he just saw how distraught I was after the Cook injury. And he was like, "It's okay, Paul. You know, you guys still got a great team." And that's the team that went to the NFC Championship game. And I just looked at Christian. His girlfriend was visiting at the time. And I said, "Christian, I know you've been dating this girl for like 2 or 3 years, maybe 4 years. The way I feel now is if she broke up with you on this trip." And he just looked at me and was like,
"What's wrong?
What is wrong with you?" And Christian's a big sports fan. I think he actually got it, but he just went, I think his actual response was, "I don't think so." He just walked away.
What week did he go down?
What was it, like week 6 or something like that? I think it was week 6 against the Lions.
It was enough that we saw how good we could be with him, but we hadn't gotten the benefits of him actually playing the full season.
Yeah.
So then you managed to go 13-3, go to the championship.
Yeah.
So you see what I'm saying?
Yeah. I see what you're saying. But Dalvin Cook was, that was his rookie year. 2, was prime Dalvin Cook was a top 5 running back in the league for a while. I understand
you guys couldn't cover Martavis Bryant that one game. He had like 3 touchdowns. I was there.
Just for 1 second, because of course this show, we can't have the show without a mention of Jordan Love. And people write in the comment section like these guys are weird, why they like Jordan Love so much. And I mean, the honest to God truth is because the moment we started talking about Jordan Love is the moment that we actually started having success. So Jordan Love, least favorite, also somewhat favorite player in the National Football League for all he's done for the show. I do want to mention that one thing that is on my mind, the same way that Golden being really good could be on my mind, is I'm wondering if now that this whole Jordan Love regression storyline has caught the national media attention and Matt LaFleur is being asked about it. Jordan Love is even being asked about it. Like, people are just going up to Jordan Love saying, hey, man, like, do you think it's fair to say you sucked last year? Like, which is kind of a...
Yo, do you think you were a bum in 2024?
The guy who like, was playing with a quad injury or a groin injury, nearly tore his ACL in week 1. They're like, by the way, man, you kind of sucked last year.
And he still managed to go to the playoffs.
And he's that's like Jordan Love sitting there and he's going, well, dude, I mean, we won 11 games and I was hurt the whole season. People are still just looking at him going like, yeah, but you were supposed to be better. And I'm wondering now if that has lit a fire under Jordan Love, where last year, again, we said the expectations were so high for the Packers and so high for Jordan Love that maybe it did, maybe it didn't get the best of him at times. I still think the injuries were the main culprit, but maybe the pressure was there. The motivation last season was, hey, let's be better than we were. Like, let's try to be better. And that's a different motivation from when people are just saying to your face, like essentially like screw you, you suck, which it seems like some people are doing with Jordan Love. And in practice, again, it's early. We're talking about OTAs, but 17 for 20 at Tuesday's practice, that 2-minute drill that Ziggy was talking about, 6 for 7, 75 yards, 30-yard touchdown to Jaden Reed, 2-point conversion to Romeo Doubs to win the practice. I just, in the back of my mind, I'm thinking, yeah, maybe we should stop talking about this regression. Like, maybe we've poked the bear a little bit, and that could be some fuel that Jordan Love actually needs, a little kick in the ass.
It could be some motivation, yeah.
Yeah, so that's on my mind.
This attitude has it's spread across the whole team, right? You've got Kenny Clark coming out saying, yeah, I got foot surgery in January. I basically couldn't move on it, but I had to play out the season because that's just what I do. That's why I had a mediocre year by my standards. You got Lucas Van Ness coming out saying, yeah, I mean, everyone remembers my arm was in a cast until week 10 and I was still playing. But, that really affected me for the whole season. Like, if that's true, right? And it doesn't seem, at least in Kenny Clark's case, I totally believe it because he's got a proven track record of excellence and just had not a terrible year, but by his standards, not great. Jordan Love, I'm not totally sure what to think. Lucas Van Ness, I really don't know what to take. Do you see he's taking snaps at defensive tackle now in OTAs? They're moving him inside.
I did see that.
He looks a little bigger. He doesn't look that much bigger.
Isn't he?
So I don't totally know what's up with
well,
that.
Do you remember when Mike Zimmer moved Danielle Hunter and Everson? I actually think this was one of the greatest coaching moves I've ever seen in my life. When Zimmer moved Danielle Hunter and Everson Griffin to defensive tackle for some plays in the Saints playoff game. Do you remember that, Jack?
No.
Remember with Kirk Cousins, we beat the Saints in New Orleans. They were like 13-3.
Yeah, I remember the game. Yes.
Yeah, the overtime game. Zimmer moved the two of them at defensive tackle on some plays, and they were monsters. And you just saw it like on the broadcast, even the Saints, people going like, what are they doing? Like, how is this working? And I wonder if the Packers are trying to replicate something like that.
Athletic freaks on the inside. Aaron Donald proved it once and for all. You don't have to be 300 pounds. If you're an athletic freak, you can sometimes get it done. And that's him. But just to connect it back to what we were saying, like on both sides of the ball, you've got this, everyone's saying we sucked. We know we're still good. We were just hurt. The Lions got all the excuses in the world of every single person on their defense is hurt. I think the Packers are probably sitting around saying, well, who cares about that? We were hurt too. This year's our year.
Yeah, maybe.
So I don't know. I'd be, as a fan of a team that's opposing them, I mean, who knows how much of it really mattered? Would Jordan Love been great if he was healthy? We don't know. Kenny Clark, Lucas Van Ness. But if that ends up being true, and they've got a lot of talent that's going to come back healthy and looking for revenge. Yeah. It's OTAs. What else are we supposed to talk about?
But that's a fair point.
You talk about athletic freaks. Remember Casey Hampton? Steelers nose tackle? Oh, you don't? Look him up.
No.
What, anything about Casey Hampton? Or
no, you just want about athletic freaks on the inside.
Just popped in your mind?
I forgot about Jaden Reed, too, honestly.
No.
I forgot they had Jaden Reed.
Well, yeah, it was a unforgettable season for the Packers. But yeah, you're right, Ziggy. I mean, everyone on that team, from the receivers to defensive players to Jair Alexander to Jordan Love, we pissed off the Packers.
Reed and Golden could be elite.
I think that motivation of people, like being able to motivate yourself behind other people talking down on you, to me is a more motivating force than everyone being like, hey, we're great. Like, you're great. Like, go improve. So we'll see. That might be what they need.
That's what Kirby Smart at Georgia basically made up he put up some borderline fake media quotes. He's like, everybody says we're going to be like a 7-win team and suck after they won their national championship. He's like, everybody doubts you guys. Go out and get them. It was obviously garbage, right? They were the preseason number one. Do you remember him talking about that?
A little bit. I remember Michael Jordan like making up
team,
stories.
I know Saban would do that.
Like when you're an 11-win team, you don't often have people actually coming up to you and being like, why were you guys so terrible last year? All you did was make the playoffs. Only happens in Green Bay, by the way. What other, besides like the Steelers, what other team do people go up and say, you made the playoffs last year? Why did you suck so bad? What's wrong with you? Because the Steelers, they actually do suck. It's voodoo magic that gets them in the playoffs.
Probably the Cowboys.
We're better than Green Bay. And we're going to show it on Sunday Night Football.
I'm getting nervous about the kind of motivation this Packers team is going to have. And with almost everyone showing up to practice and them working hard, I mean, they've got it. They'll say this. Next year, they have to get it done. I'm not saying they have to win a Super Bowl. If things don't improve next year, they've got problems.
Go back to a little discussion beforehand about the potential, like the best receiver duo in football. Golden and Reed could be up there.
Yeah. What do you mean up there? Like top 10 or
if Golden is playing football like he should be playing, the one to play football.
I'd be surprised if they're a top 10 duo in the league. Come on, top 10.
But they're a lot.
I think actually the competition for number 10 is
who's like there's a lot of
who are the really good ones. So you got Cincinnati.
Run through it.
Yeah, top 10 is not a crazy ask.
Run through it. The Vikings for sure.
Obvious number 1 is Jamar Chase, T. Higgins.
Yep.
I think obvious number 2.
Well, no. As opposed to just bouncing all over, just run through each team in the divisions real quick. Bengals, yes. Steelers, no. Browns, no. Ravens, no. So that's 1, right?
Yeah.
Chargers, no. Chiefs, no. Raiders, no. Broncos, no. Okay, still at 1 here. I'll put the Jaguars ahead of them, right?
Sure.
Yeah, but still debatable.
Who's with Nico right now?
One of those is going to be one of those Iowa State kids.
I probably
Nico,
still
I'm
take them.
taking that because that's
because you got Nico.
You've got a proven number 1 in a rookie instead of no proven number 1 in a rookie.
You take Nico,
so you got 3 right
now
here. Tennessee, Ridley, and whoever.
No,
Phil, last team in that division. Who am I? Colts, Pittman, and fill in the blank. Probably not. If Golden's really good,
tight ends.
But this is like
Tyler Warren.
This is me saying if Golden becomes our number 1 receiver, Golden and Jaden.
So we're assuming Golden.
So that's 3. That's 3 right now. Tyreek and Waddle. I'm probably still taking those 2.
Yes.
Jets, no. Garrett Wilson. Now you're probably you're probably taking Packers there. Bills
got Diggs.
No, they don't have Diggs anymore. He's been there for years.
He's been gone for years.
I thought you said pass.
So Pats or Bills. I don't think you're taking them. So that's 4 in the AFC. NFC, I think you take the Vikings, Jefferson, Addison. Lions, you take J-Mo and Amon-Ra? Probably.
Yeah.
Bears, you take DJ Moore and Rome Odunze? Probably.
It's close.
That's close.
Okay, let's say no. Then you're at 6 right now.
We'll be nice. We'll give him a no.
What?
I think Reed's a very good receiver.
Yeah, I think he's very good too. But I DJ Moore is awesome. Like if
isn't DJ Moore just better, Jaden Reed?
If Matthew Golden plays like DJ Moore, I think the
I'm saying if Matthew Golden is a good receiver, they're a top 10 duo in the league.
Yeah,
but we won't count the Bears.
All right, we won't count the Bears. All right, we'll wrap it up here. The Seahawks, Jackson Smith and Jigba and Cooper Kupp.
Oh, that probably is better. Yeah.
Yeah, probably.
49ers, I don't think so with Ayuk and Pearsall. Rams, Devontae.
Absolutely. Puka and Devontae.
And Devontae, yep, that's 8. And Kyler, you got Marvin Harrison. Nah, probably not Marvin and whoever is in Arizona. Our last one, Saints, no. Panthers, no. Buccaneers, yeah. Evans and Godwin, right? We're okay with that still?
Yeah.
Assuming they come back. Falcons, Pittman, and whoever? Probably not.
No. And then did he do the NFC East?
London, then we got the East. Then we got
Drake.
London. London. Yeah, so London, sorry. East, you take the Eagles, you take the Cowboys, Neighbors and whoever. Probably not. Oh, maybe. Neighbors and who's their 2?
I think I'd take Reed and
Neighbors and Jack Weinberger probably beats out what the Packers have.
Well, that's also me. Neighbors and whoever else.
And then I'd probably take McLaurin and Devo. Personally.
Yeah, so it's
you're
a big ass.
So you're in that like probably 13 to 16 range if he's.
But I also don't think it's nuts to say they can be better than
a few of those
Neighbors and Slayton.
Yes. It was fair enough to say, yeah. So
Like, I don't think it's ridiculous to be in the top 10.
I love how this show just all of a sudden we just rank every single receiver duo in football. Okay, we'll move on from the Packers there onto our next topic. A couple more rookies and we'll call it. Shedeur. I did want to mention this one because we talked about Shedeur a few episodes ago. He's supposed to be in the last episode. We wound up moving
He
it.
sucks. The Browns suck.
Right now, there's
Cam
a
Ward.
4-way competition in Cleveland for the starting quarterback job. FanDuel has it. Sorry, Unnamed Sportsbook has it. Flacco plus 116, Pickett plus 200, Sanders plus 430, Dylan Gabriel plus 870 to start. Flacco and Pickett, for the most part, been splitting the first team reps, and Shedeur has been coming in, and he's playing really well right now. That's what everyone's saying. Usually, you're not tracking the quarterback numbers at the really early practices here, but people have for Shedeur.
Well, the Browns are posting it on their social media.
Yeah, 7 for 9, 3 touchdowns, more than any of the Browns quarterbacks, and all the Browns reporters are sitting there saying, yeah, like he looks good. The placement, the accuracy that people talking about, it's legit. And
when you saw what Zach Jackson said about Dylan Gabriel, right?
No.
He said Dylan Gabriel does not look like an NFL quarterback, and I have no idea why they took him. He does not look like a player who can play in the NFL.
Again, not to piss off Jack here, but Dylan Gabriel a little bit shorter, not exactly the same, I would say, ceiling that you have for most.
What do you call
I
him?
mean, he
short?
did the Bo
Dylan
Nix
Gabriel
thing without being anywhere near as
Oh,
good
so
as
I
Bo
said, what do
Nix.
you mean piss off Jack?
Because you defended Gabriel on like 2 shows ago. You were adamant that he's better than Shedeur.
He is better than Shedeur.
Yeah. Did you hear what Jack just said, Ziggy?
Yeah, Paul's like, don't want to piss off Jack. Gabriel's short.
No, I'm talking about your take on Gabriel.
Well, he's better than Shedeur Sanders.
But anyway, here's what I like when you talk about the Browns and their starting quarterbacks for next year. Shedeur Sanders will be starting games in Cleveland. You could take that to the bank. Lock it in. It's going to happen. If you're a Browns fan,
all 4 of them will.
No. If you're a Browns, I don't know. If you're a Browns fan and you're looking over the situation, the quarterback room there, you have 40-year-old Joe Flacco, you have backup Kenny Pickett, you have probably overdrafted, undersized Dylan Gabriel, and then the first-round talent, son of one of the most famous football players of all time, who you got in the 5th round as a steal and looks good in practice so far. Every single Browns fan who looks at that is going to say, because they're going to continue to put out videos promoting Shedeur. There's going to continue to be a ton of coverage around him. Whether it's deserved or not, all the media attention is going to be on Shedeur Sanders. And every single Browns fan, by the time they're 0-4 here, after they go up against the Bengals, Ravens, Packers, and Lions their first 4 weeks, is going to be sitting back saying, man, maybe Joe Flacco doesn't have it anymore. And yeah, maybe Kenny Pickett's a backup for a reason. Let's go with Shedeur. They're going to be at Stefanski's gates calling for Shedeur Sanders to start by week 5 when they play the Vikings in London. I don't know if that's the time to play him.
I would love that to be his debut.
Against the ferocious Minnesota Vikings. And the next week would be at Pittsburgh. So maybe you want to wait till you host the Dolphins in your 7th game. But I'm telling you, by week 5, the calls will be loud.
Only 2 quarterbacks. Yeah, there's only 2 quarterbacks that should be starting next year if you're a Browns fan.
Pickett better be one.
Dylan Gabriel or Shedeur Sanders.
1000% agree.
Pickett is so disrespected. It's crazy.
He's a backup.
Pickett's a half decent quarterback.
He's fine. He's a good backup.
Pickett's record on the Steelers, like starting and ending the game, was like 9-3, and he just gets slack.
Well, remember the whole conversation was like, yeah, Kenny Pickett sucks for 3 quarters, and he's awesome.
Every game Pickett started and finished, he has a winning record in Pittsburgh. The man just gets so disrespected. It's crazy.
Do you actually?
Wins are not a QB stat.
You're out here saying Dylan Gabriel, that's nuts. Pickett's better than Gabriel.
I'm not arguing that.
Shedeur also.
To be clear, over that 9-3 record, he threw for a total of 13 touchdowns and 14 interceptions.
He won games.
But you saw your ceiling was higher.
Remember the game-winning drive against the Ravens, game-winning drive against the Raiders? He took us to the playoffs.
I remember he had some great 4th quarter moments.
Then he won a Super Bowl, and we're out here saying...
well, he didn't win he was on the Super Bowl team.
And we're out here saying that this guy, Dylan Gabriel, should start.
You talk about Kenny Pickett like he threw for 350 and 4 touchdowns.
Stop disrespecting Pickett. Pickett's not bad. But Shedeur also was only drafted in the 5th round because he had Travis Hunter. If Hunter was not on that team, he would have been terrible undrafted. Terrible. And he's also not.
If you were a Browns fan, though, you would rather see Shedeur Sanders or Dylan Gabriel start then no, you're blinded. You're disillusioned.
Jack doesn't know how to reason about
I forgot that.
I'm going Pickett, Gabriel. There's too much baggage. Okay. I'm going Pickett, Gabriel, Flacco, Shedeur.
You wouldn't put it. Come on, at least you'd put him above Flacco.
No, Flacco.
Come on, at least to see what
Flacco's
you have.
Super Bowl champ. Shedeur comes with too much baggage. There's going to be all the media attention.
But it's there now.
It's
going to be worse with him on the bench.
He sucks. The second he comes in and sucks, everyone here he's going to hear about it.
Wouldn't you at least say
everyone's complaining? He's done.
Wouldn't you at least say that? Well, sure.
That's going to ruin his career.
Wouldn't you be okay then?
He won't handle
with having him go in, seeing that he sucks, and then saying, "All right, he's done." Wouldn't you rather see that if you were a Browns fan? Like, all right, let's see if he sucks, and if he doesn't, great.
When they're like 0-9, maybe.
Yeah. That's what I'm saying. They're 0-6.
I give the other 3 QBs a shot before I give Shedeur a shot.
I think
Gabriel's a 3rd round pick.
You can talk me. Who cares about where they're picked?
Browns know he's better than Shedeur.
I don't think they do.
Yeah, they just took him first.
By the end of training camp, though, forget about where you're drafted. When you're playing in practice, that's why Russell Wilson started over Matt Flynn.
No one tries in practice.
All right, I can't get on this take. But if I were a Browns fan, I want to see Shedeur number 1.
You're 2 Super Bowl champs in your roster.
Number 2, I want to see probably Gabriel, then Pickett, then Flacco. You know with Joe Flacco that they're not going anywhere. You really do. So to me, if you're playing Flacco, it's a shield. I think Joe Flacco would be a shield for the Browns to lose their first few games when they have that gauntlet, when you have Burrow, Lamar, Packers, Lions. And then you could throw Shedeur or Gabriel to, a less hungry pack of wolves.
I mean, Colorado's skill position players are better than the Browns. So, there's no reason to think that Shedeur is going to be anything in the NFL.
You gotta hope that with the coaching and that over time he can improve that team. The Browns are at such a rock bottom right now that I think playing Shedeur Sanders is, at the very least, you could have some sort of hope. You play Joe Flacco, no hope.
Way too much baggage.
Pickett, look, I think you can make the argument. Hey, throw Pickett out there, see what he has. I don't think he has it, but if that's the hill you're gonna die on, then you could talk me into let's see if Pickett has it for a few weeks, and if he doesn't, which I don't expect him to,
I think he's the best to be on the roster. Someone else. He's best to be on the roster.
Blinded.
He gets too much hate.
I'm not. Yeah, we'll see. We'll see. If Kenny Pickett plays, we'll see what happens.
That's who I'm starting.
Last rookie, just to mention briefly, because we talked about him just a few episodes ago. Calvin Ridley and Cam Ward may have some sort of a little bromance going on here. If you hear the two talk about each other, it's just, man, you can start playing the love music, because Calvin Ridley's out here saying that he's got that effort mentality that you want to see quarterbacks have. That man's a dog. Blessed to play with him. He's going to make me look good. Then you have Cam Ward saying, I think he's one of the top receivers in the NFL, if not the best. So you got these two going back and forth. Apparently that connection's going really well so far. I believe Ridley was actually saying, I like him. I like the guy. I think it's friends.
OTAs is honestly it's full of nonsense.
Oh, it's complete nonsense, but it's awesome. And the more and more that's come out on Cam Ward right now, I actually think that it replicates exactly what you saw in a lot of the workout videos that he put out, where he's all business, it seems. He goes out there, he's there to play football, he's there to get better at football, which is the perfect thing for the Titans right now, who, in their search for a quarterback, I think they can use someone who just comes in and he's just there to throw the rock and to, I'm not trying to say that Will Levis wasn't serious, although when you see the Mayo commercials, it's a little the drinking coffee and mayo and stuff, that's a little bizarre. But I think Cam Ward is going to be a refreshing quarterback to come in and hopefully turn it around for Tennessee. But so far, so good, it looks like, with the Titans.
It's exciting. I mean, I feel like the last, who was the last Titans QB who could, there was have hope about?
Really have hope
Will
about?
Levis.
Yeah, I guess it was Will Levis.
But not like Cam
was it the
Ward.
Steelers game? Didn't he go in and play awesome against the Steelers?
Where was Will Levis? He was in the first round.
Second
pick,
round,
right?
He was second round. He was supposed to go in the first round, fell in the second.
Yes, the Titans having a number one overall.
Ryan Tannehill, I think, was a guy that, people look back and say you shouldn't have believed in him, but he put together genuine Pro Bowl seasons for them.
But the Titans having a number one overall pick
It's Vince Young. That was the last time that you could really look back and say, like, we've got a guy who could be one of the best in the NFL.
Yeah, he got a good young quarterback, a good young weapon in Ridley.
I forgot they took Jake Locker in the first round as well. I forgot about that.
You never Jake Locker. He played one season, and you knew we didn't have it.
Yeah, but he also. Oh shoot, guys, we're forgetting Mariota too. Mariota went number 2.
Oh, I forgot about Mariota.
So they've actually.
So the Titans have
had a lot
whiffed on every quarterback.
Yeah, so the Titans went
Mariota.
Vince
Young.
Young
away the best one of the bunch, Malik Willis.
The Titans actually almost over the past 16 years have had 4 quarterbacks. They've had Vince Young, Jake Locker, Mariota, Levis, and now Cam Ward. All is pretty highly selected quarterbacks.
Locker and Levis.
Wasn't Locker the 10th pick in the draft? I mean, that's pretty. I'm trying to remember. I think
he was pick 8.
Oh yeah, pick 8. I mean, that's up there.
Cam Ward is so much more exciting than Jake Locker was. Cam Ward can move.
Dude,
his legs.
Jake Locker had a lot of hype.
I remember. I watched Jake Locker play to college.
No. It's okay to say that Cam Ward you think is a more exciting prospect, but Jake Locker did have hype. If you're taking 8th in the draft,
yes, but not like Cam Ward does.
But I don't think Cam Ward really compared to Mariota or Vince Young. Those guys were higher to me.
I forgot about Marcus Mariota.
Yeah. Well, Jake Locker, you have to remember, he was coming off a horrible season relative to expectations, whereas Cam Ward went from a nope. I mean, this is the thing about Cam Ward that I think if you're a Titans fan has to have you excited, is a lot of the quarterbacks that get drafted early on, they were really highly ranked high school recruits. They walked into college. They had a starting job. Maybe they transferred, maybe they didn't, but basically everywhere they've gone, they've been the guy. Cam Ward had to earn his way up. He knows how to deal with adversity. In the NFL, that comes your way. I think that has to leave you at least a little bit excited, right?
I agree that Cam Ward seems like, and that's I think part of that effort mentality that you hear Calvin Ridley talking about is he works hard for his spots, but I don't think that. That's not changing it too. I'm just saying that's kind of me talking about JJ McCarthy mentality. Like, yeah, it's exciting and it's something that ultimately you want to see in your franchise quarterback. But at the end of the day, it's go out there and win the games.
He was also forced up the draft board too.
He was. If you put Cam Ward in that draft with Gabbert, Cam Newton, Jake Locker, I think we probably would have Ward go above Locker. But Jake Locker had some hype. I'm telling you, don't sleep on the Jake Locker hype. It was.
I never said he didn't. Cam Ward's number 1 overall.
It was that. Well, I'm just saying. Titans fans, listen. Are we going to have Titans fans watching this video? Titans fans, how much hype was there around Jake Locker? That's what I want to know.
They'll say there's more around Cam Ward.
Can Titans fans rank the hype between Jake Locker, Vince Young, Mariota, Will Levis, and Cam Ward? I would like to know the order of those 5.
I'll give you
we
the
can put out a
3.
reel.
It's Mariota, Vince Young.
Well, I think it's Vince Young 1.
The Mariota's 1.
Vince Young is 1.
There's no way in the world it's not Vince Young 1.
Mariota was like the best college QB of all time.
Brother. Vince Young was number 1.
All right, fine.
Jack doesn't remember Vince Young at Texas.
Yes, I do. He beat him against Reggie Bush.
It was Vince Young, Mariota.
I think it's Mariota, Vince Young, Cam Ward.
I think it's
Levis and Locker. No,
Ward and Locker. I think Ward is closer to Locker than he was to Mariota.
It's also OTAs. Like, it's all a bunch of bull crap. Like, I mean, Roman Wilson said that Mason Rudolph's one of the best quarterbacks in the league. Like, why are we sitting here?
Roman Wilson, it's a Michigan guy.
But why are we all hyped about?
We Michigan guys outside of JJ McCarthy, Michigan guys. There's a couple screws.
Michigan guys are smart than Notre Dame guys. Yeah, I said it.
The difference is that Roman Wilson is obviously wrong, and Calvin Ridley. I mean, I don't think he's wrong that Cam Ward has a great mentality and he's excited to work with it.
But why are we believing Ridley to Ward and not believing Wilson to Rudolph? I mean, it's
because we've seen. Yeah, look. No shade on Mason Rudolph. Okay, I'd like to
some shade on Mason Rudolph. We saw what he could do with the Titans last year.
Yeah, that's different. The difference is we've all seen Mason Rudolph for years be I would say he's had his moments, but he's
never
just
a DK Metcalf
quarterback.
He's never a DK Metcalf.
But didn't he have Pickens?
DK's better than Pickens.
Oh, here we go. Okay. All right, let's finish up. It was fun. I'm actually really curious about the Titans hype. I really hope that I'm going to put out a reel.
I'm not like super high on Cam Ward. Like in general, like I don't think I see them more than like 5 wins. to be honest. But
and you're normally right on these rookie quarterbacks. So
yeah, I think he's good. I just don't think the Titans have enough where it's like, oh, Cam Ward is going to make them great.
Yeah,
but I will say, maybe I'm wrong.
All right,
I said exactly the same thing about the Commanders last year.
Oh, so did I. I said the same thing too.
You never know.
So you never know.
Okay, we have just a couple things. Very quickly, did you guys see Sam Darnold allegedly had some really bad practices? Maybe just one really bad practice, threw a couple picks, and all of a sudden you had reporters asking Mike Macdonald, is there a world where, disregarding injury, that Sam Darnold would not be the starter week 1? I mean, it must have been such a bad practice. I was trying to find notes on this practice. It must have been horrendous to have reporters coming up and asking you about the quarterback you just paid $33 million.
I mean,
could he not start?
Darnold couldn't even dream of making a play or a throw like Milroe did in the Iron Bowl. I think I'd start Milroe too.
And they asked him, or McDonald responded, "No, you guys are crazy." I respect that you've got to ask it, but it's just a crazy question. Not going to happen. Sam's our starting quarterback. We love him. He's doing a tremendous job. God forbid you're the worst player of all time because you made one bad throw or one bad decision. That is not what we're trying to build. We want these guys to go prepare the right way, and then when they go out and practice on the field, go freaking let it rip, and then we'll go fix it. We've got time. It's June 3rd. They're going to get plenty of reps. We'll get these things fixed. I was just thinking, again, big Darnold guy. As you can see from the Kirk Cousins shirt I'm wearing, I continue to support the former Vikings quarterbacks, Case Keenum, all of these guys. I hope they do great. Teddy Bridgewater, when he was at the Lions, I was rooting for Teddy Bridgewater to go down the field and score a touchdown in the playoffs. The Detroit Lions, who beat the Vikings in Week 18, I was rooting for them. So I'm all in on Sam Darnold having a good year for the Seahawks. I will say, when you have, in early June, reporters asking, is there a world where he's not starting? That is not the start that you want to have in Seattle.
Darnold will be starting.
Oh, he will be. And I hope he plays really well. This is a ridiculous, an absurd question from the reporters. I'm just saying it's not what you want to see if you're a Seattle fan. We're not even in July yet.
I will say this. Asking about whether Darnold's going to start week 1, laughable, obviously not going to happen. I do not think Sam Darnold is guaranteed a starting job for the whole season.
No, he's not. Not with the contract.
Jalen Milroe sitting behind him.
Well,
would have sounded ridiculous to ask. I'm not saying Jalen Milroe is going to be great. Would have sounded ridiculous last year to say, is Kirk Cousins going to start the whole season for you guys outside of injury?
Yeah.
People said, assuming he's healthy, of course he's going to start every single game, except me. I said in the preseason, you will see Michael Penix Jr. start games for the Falcons before the end of the season.
Didn't you have the Falcons winning the division?
I think you could easily see the same situation in Seattle.
Yes.
If Sam Darnold struggles a little bit, if you're looking for something different, a more mobile quarterback, a guy who honestly, there's potential for Jalen Milroe to be a good NFL quarterback. If they're not firmly in the playoff chase, I could absolutely see Sam Darnold getting benched and see what the rookie's got.
Oh, yeah. I mean, if Sam comes out and is horrible and he's not, again, he's making...
Even if he's just mediocre.
Yeah, he's making the 19th. He's 19th in quarterback salary. So it's, you're not paying this guy top 10, top 5 money. So you might feel a little less like your hand is being forced there. But yes, Sam has to go earn it at the end of the day. And hopefully he does. Again, you got Cooper Kupp there. You got Jackson Smith and Jigba. They have some players. But it's, there might be some trying times in Seattle when you don't have Kevin O'Connell, the best receiver in football, pretty good offensive line. The Vikings made it pretty easy for him. And he was great too. We can't deny Darnold was great last year. But I'm just saying, I hope it works out for him. Not good if you're a Seattle fan for the first week. And again, you can't overreact to anything.
I'm not going to sit here and say not good because a reporter asked it.
All right. It's just not what I want to see. Is that we're already we're already having these questions. It's a dumb question from the Seattle guy, especially if he's. I mean, maybe it's a good question because you got people talking about it, but this doesn't register on my radar of panic meter. It's a 0.
I think OTAs is ridiculous.
Then why are you coming out saying that's not what you want to hear? It's bad news.
I'm just saying, if I'm a Seattle, I would not want to see if I'm a Viking. I'm not panicking if JJ McCarthy is a bad practice, but I'd still rather not
one of these press conferences and ask the Packers, "Hey, are you going to bench Jordan Love from Malik Willis? Are you going to say bad news coming out of Green Bay?"
Well, Jordan Love throws a bunch of interceptions in practice, then yeah, maybe maybe I would be a. I would say it's bad news.
I'm also a huge voice in sports media, probably more so than this guy, so it'd be a little scarier.
Okay, let's hit this. Let's hit this mailbag here. Got just a handful of questions. J.K. Zerata says, what was the last book you read and how would you rate it? I immediately just look at Jack. I only put this in because I would like to hear what Jack's answer is.
Like not as a class, like by myself? Or can it be like a class?
I say both if you can remember.
Okay.
If you can remember, I did not mean that to be a dig. That was just like if you actually know, if you can remember the class off the top of your head. Because I don't remember the last one I read in class.
I think I remember it was like junior year maybe of high school. Of Mice and Men. Did we read that?
Yeah, we read that.
Yeah, I think Of Mice and Men maybe. And then my last individual.
Oh, it was Tom Sawyer.
I attempted.
Ziggy, do you remember the Tom Sawyers? Mrs. Weinberger bought Tom Sawyer for Jack and said you should really read a book, and Jack read 2 pages.
My last individual book actually was like half a year ago. I read The Wreckers.
It's a good night mood.
No, it's called The Wreckers. That was it was half a year ago.
What would you rate it? That was the final part of the question.
It's 7. It was a good book.
I cannot imagine you sitting down on like a Wednesday night when the Mariners game or something is on, and you're like, all right, let me just open up my book.
I read a full book half a year ago. It's called The Wreckers. I gave it a 7 out of 10.
Is there a movie called The Wreckers?
Nice.
Not that I know of.
I read, and you know what? It's fun to joke around, but I also don't read as many books as I want to anymore. So I really can't.
Nobody reads books anymore.
Well, Ziggy does. A lot of people read books.
People watch movies.
A lot of people read books. I mean, it's just not guys like me and you. But I just read The Name of the Wind.
Well,
I thought that was really,
for
really
yourself.
good.
I read The Wreckers half a year ago.
Well, I finished the Name of the Wind 2 months ago.
That sounds like a stupid book.
It was awesome. Fantasy book. I actually think you'd like it.
Don't
really
get started on that, Paul. It's a mistake.
That's
a mistake.
Oh yeah. Well, I know. I'm already in. I bought the second book.
Finished.
So Jack, the author, Patrick Rothfuss, he wrote the first 2 books, and it's been 13 years, and he still hasn't written the 3rd and final book.
Really?
And you know that it just goes back to our whole Game of Thrones conversation. It bothers me a lot when you have authors write these stories and then just be like, hey, like writer's block. Like, come on, what? Are you kidding me?
You've never tried to write anything in your life, Paul. You have no idea what it's like.
I'm sure it's really hard, but like
he's edging everybody.
You're a professional writer. You started the story. Finish it.
He's edging everyone.
Yeah, I don't want
you
that.
Have no idea.
Imagine if we just ended this podcast right here without answering the final 4 mailbag questions. People would be like, "Are you kidding me, guys?
What the heck? Yeah,
it's a joke." Anyway, though,
this isn't very hard.
Good book. All right, Ziggy, go ahead.
Speak for yourself.
Yeah, speak for yourself.
You want me to say the most recent book I read?
Yeah.
Is this counting like the whole book or just parts of it?
The last whole book you read, and I'm by the way, Name of the Wind. I'll give it a 9 out of 10. It was awesome.
I was gonna say if it was partial, I've been on a big reading kick of the Venerable Bede recently. So like I've been extracting a lot from In Principium Genesis, right? Like I mean you know how it goes, right? I'm interested in this project of sort of trying to date the world and looking at. Like, I'm interested in, like, 8th, 6th, 7th century approaches to laws of nature. Mm-hmm. Setting that aside, though, just finished my reread of Dance of Dragons.
Oh. And how would you rate it?
I don't think it's as good as A Feast for Crows, but it's a solid 8.
Solid 8.
I had a better appreciation for it this time, now that I knew where some of the things were going.
I think, it's like, if you sat down and read me a book, I'd get turned on.
No, what?
Okay, I'm done with the show for the day. I'm done. You guys can finish this up. I'm not doing it.
Why? Why say that? The next question is actually, well, me and you will finish up.
Yeah,
I actually don't think he's coming back.
There was no way he wasn't coming back.
I actually thought you were not.
See that, Jack? That's a stack of books. You can read them.
I would put bet my life that you came back.
I really thought you weren't coming. I thought for sure he was not coming back.
I'm not. I have some responsibility to finish the show, like you said, Paul.
I would like it again, separate from Jack's comment. I think a Ziggy audiobook would be great.
That would be great. Yes.
M.2. Oh, this is a weird name. M.2. It's a clever name here. It's a period, then the word dot, then another period. Ziggy, as the resident Packers fan, bad comment. Do you think that Gutekunst's job might just be a tad bit unsafe if the season doesn't go well? A new team president makes me think there could be the smell of blood in the water. Someone watched the Detroit Lions reel. If we get another mediocre playoff run. Love the show as always. Please stop being nice about the Bears. They will win 4 games next season.
Agreed.
All right, Ziggy, this is a personal question to you. Is Gutekunst's job in jeopardy?
So I like what you said, too. If they have a mediocre playoff run, is he going to get fired? If they make the playoffs, first of all, there's not a chance he's getting fired. Second of all, there's surely not a chance they're getting fired if he makes the playoffs. I mean, maybe you're not totally happy with the way that like the team is going, but they've built a talented young roster, and Brian Gutekunst managed the departure of Aaron Rodgers better than I think any other GM in the entire league would have. There's no way you're getting rid of the guy who handled that situation because all he's doing is making the playoffs every year. Yeah, no chance.
How bad, when they say a bit unwell, there has to be like if they're 4-13, you know?
Nope.
No? Okay, so you say no.
I think I do not think that any way the Packers perform this year, he gets fired.
Fair enough. NJ Packer fan 65 says, well, this question makes more sense now. Jack, will you be at Steelers versus Jets week 1?
I plan on being there, yeah. Yeah, I surely do. Right
also,
up the road.
Have you guys ever been to Blue 42 in Elmwood Park? Amazing wings, over 100 different flavors, and the best Packers-themed bar in Jersey. Well, we're not Packers fans.
I'd check it out.
But I would check it out. Yeah, 100%. No, I haven't been there.
Was it 20 minutes away from us?
Yeah, they have 172 flavors for the record.
Wow.
We actually have to check that out then. Packers bar aside.
I'll check it out.
You got me at wings.
Yeah.
Yeah, that'd be awesome.
I had wings last night.
As part of the punishment for Memorial Day, we do like a Memorial Day competition, Olympic style events, and we have like 10 different events, a couple of Ziggy and I's college friends, and I'd say your friends too at this point.
Oh yeah.
We'll do pickleball, pool basketball, which is just brutal at this point. Golf, all these things. And at the end of it, the losing teams, there's one winner, usually 2 or 3 losers, depending on how many teams we have, they have to be punished. And this year, my team, the Jersey Boys, came in last. And our punishment was blazing wings from Buffalo Wild Wings. We didn't do knockout wings. Or maybe we did. They didn't say knockout on the label. But, dude, have you had like super hot buffalo wings anytime recently?
No.
You feel it. I was lucky that it went in fine and came out fine, but a couple of the guys on my team, they were struggling the next morning. It was, some real heat there.
I had a spicy.
Let us know if you tried that challenge.
I had a spicy chicken sandwich today. It's pretty good.
Actual question.
For the record, the Buffalo Wild Wings blazing sauce is a joke.
Yeah, no. The
it's
knockout,
not even spicy.
The knockout or the regular
the thing
blazing?
They have a challenge for.
Well, the knockout is look. I had the blazing. I think actually pretty good flavor, and pretty good heat to it as well. But apparently these knockout ones are 3 times spicier. And the blazing were hot, but
so this is the thing, right? It's 3 times hotter, but people don't recognize that Scoville heat units is logarithmic, not a linear scale.
Oh,
so it's 3 times hotter linearly, but like 20% hotter logarithmic.
Oh, okay. So it's spicier. That's
I don't know what I don't know what that means.
Basically, to really simplify it, it just means that it's not actually 3 times hotter.
Gotcha.
That's fair, Ziggy. So, last 2 questions. Makeshift says, NBA Finals picks from the boys. And is it the NBA Finals with 2 small market teams a good or bad thing for the league? Pacers or Thunder? Who you got?
So I've been saying the Thunder this whole playoffs, but I got the Pacers in 6. I got the Pacers. I just placed a bet plus 600 to win the series. So I got the Pacers in 6.
All right, Pacers. Ziggy?
Thunder in 4.
I'll go Thunder in 5. Would that put it? Yeah, that put it back in OKC for Game 5. I think they win.
Friend of the program, Andrew Fullwider, is watching every single one of these games at like 4 a.m. in Germany.
Yeah,
so I hope the Pacers win, but it's not going to happen.
And friend of the show, Tommy Cassius, as well, is watching all these games at 8 o'clock when they go live.
The Pacers are good.
Tommy and I had a bet on Knicks Pacers. It was unfortunate. I'm sick of the Pacers. Although I do think I'd be friends with Tyrese Halliburton.
100%.
He does seem like a funny guy. So
Tyrese Halliburton would not be friends with you.
I don't know. I think I disagree with that. I think Tyrese Halliburton, from everything I've seen from him and everything I'm sure he's seen from me, seem to be.
I feel like Halliburton seems like a nice dude. I feel like he'd be friends with, most people.
I think if Tyrese Halliburton and I went out and just, got drinks at a bar, like just boys' night out, got some wings, they go bowling or something.
He'd probably be like, this guy's a little strange, but he's a nice guy.
Maybe he might say that.
But say the same thing about
I might say the same thing about Tyrese Halliburton.
Yeah.
I think it would be. I think it'd be fun.
I think it would go great. Maybe
I forgot he's only 25 years old.
Yeah, he's our age.
Yeah, he's younger, a year younger.
Maybe he gets drank a little bit.
What'd you say? As far as is it bad for the league? Nick Wright just said on our show, he said, the NBA just signed its massive TV deal. So if there was ever going to be a year where the NBA didn't particularly care about the ratings for the finals, then it would probably be this one because you care about ratings so that you could renew your contracts, get more money. So given that, they just renewed their deal, I don't think it's that bad. Like, it's actually a really fun matchup as far as offense versus defense. Young stars, people are going to get to know SGA's name better. Halliburton's going to be around a long time. Obviously, you'd prefer the Knicks, and Brunson is also not as young as Halliburton, but a younger star compared to 37-year-old Durant, Curry, and LeBron. But I don't think it's a bad thing for the league. I think the ratings will be down, but I think that it's good to show off these other teams that are going to be around for a while. Last question from Logan Nowak. If you had to divorce your favorite team, which team would you be a fan of next? He says, go Pack, go. So you got to divorce the Steelers, Ziggy, me and you divorced the Vikings, or I'm trying to think. No, I was going to think of it, say perhaps a different sport, but no, we'll go with just the NFL. Who would you root for?
Divorce the Steelers. I'd root for the Jacksonville Jaguars.
Yeah?
Because they have Jack in the name Jacksonville. I've always said that as a kid. That's my second favorite team growing up. So I'd go Jacksonville.
Ziggy?
That's a good question. I could go back to the Rams, but I don't think so. I'd become a Colts fan. Colts forged.
I can see that. I went to school in Indiana. They're a nice team. I would... Dude, I know how to pick them in the NFL. When I was a younger kid and I had a quote-unquote second favorite team, I used to say I also rooted for the Browns for some reason. I mean, dude.
For me, you're just deranged.
For me, it was the Jags.
Dude, Vikings and Browns. Yeah, but you had the Steelers at least winning Super Bowls. I was like, if I got fed up with the Vikings, I turn on the Browns game and they're down 45 points in the third quarter. Like, what are you supposed to do about that? I remember my dad got me a Browns keychain when he went to Cleveland. That might be why. I think I just like the name Browns. My dad was probably looking at me like this poor son of a bitch. Like,
do you like Jake Delhomme?
I don't know what I liked about the Browns. Maybe I just like the lovable losers, and it would be the Dolphins now though, given
the location of where they are
down in Florida. My Uncle Tommy's a big fan. I helped get my Uncle Tommy into football. He's a Dolphins fan. Producer Zach, Dolphins fan. I root for the Florida Panthers. They're that area as well. That would be an easy transition. If I had to,
I'm gonna actually go Dolphins too. Actually,
will you root for a Jersey team if we ever got one? Like named New Jersey,
like in actually in this. Like
they were called like the New Jersey. What could we be called?
Yeah, they'd become my second favorite team instantly.
Yeah. I would pull for them. What if they were in the same division as the Steelers?
I'd root for the Steelers.
Well, no, I know you'd root for the Steelers, but would you still root for them in any capacity?
Yeah, I'd root for them.
I think I'd always be. I always look favorably. Any New Jersey team, I would look upon favorably. 100%
as
well.
The Jets and the Giants playing in Jersey and saying New York, I hate them. They're my two least favorite teams.
It's as phony as you could get.
Yeah. They play in our county, Ziggy, and they're saying the New York Jets and Giants. I hate them.
We'll wrap it up with that there. I think in New Jersey, what could we be? The New Jersey...
New Jersey, let's wrap up the show.
New Jersey, let's wrap up the show.
The swamps.
The swamps, yeah. The New Jersey swamps. All right, we'll wrap it up there. I was going to say Devils, but then I was like, oh, we got that already. All right, we'll wrap it up there. Thanks for everyone for tuning in to the rookie preview show. A little Sam Darnold conversation there, a little book conversation. We try and spread our knowledge and spread our curiosity around all different fields. So appreciate, mostly, I guess, football. Appreciate you guys for listening. We'll see you next week.